What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And we've got the Hydra challenge going on, the Creator Clash, and I'm joined by none other than Mr. Hellhades himself. How's it going?
Yeah, doing well, man. Yeah, doing well, apart from this stupid coughing. But yeah, otherwise, all good and raring to go.
Hopefully the Head of Mischief can just go in and just steal the cough out for you, the cough
Yeah,
buff.
that would be good, yeah. I was literally on that stream the other day and I'm like, here we go now. Yeah. But no, otherwise, man, all good and kind of like psyched to get involved, really.
Yeah, so you're excited with the Hydra one. We've done the clan boss, the faction games. It's a bit different, right? Coming in with the Hydra stuff for different change.
Clan boss, I feel like clan boss is like my best vibe in the game. I love clan boss. I know it inside out. I love kind of like drafting teams for it. Hydra, I didn't really get on with Hydra when it first came out. So I feel like I was a bit behind the curve. More recently, I played a lot more Hydra. I do like Nightmare Hydra now and all that type of stuff. So I am more recently kind of like in the mix of it. But definitely, I wouldn't say, to the same level as I am with Clan Boss. Like, I know to draft a team, that type of stuff. But it, yeah, there's definitely already been some surprises in the picks.
Yeah. So so far, who do you think had like the craziest team? Like one that was like, you seen those champions get pulled and you was like, hell no, I don't want to face them.
Yeah, well, it's got to be Scratch. Like, I think Scratch has gone in as the #1 seed, and like rightly so, because I just feel like if we were fighting Nightmare, maybe it would be less dangerous. But this Trunder against Brutal with this setup, like the decrease defense and weaken, increase attack, absolute nuke, reset, let's go again. I'm afraid of that team because I've seen that Trunder's basically broken in the game. Yeah, her A2 is broken. That when the heads are dead, there's just obscene damage that gets pumped out if you set it up right.
Is that actually a bug, or is it something that is actually supposed to be in the game? Because I'm not too sure of how that team works, to be honest.
I think it's a bug. It's a bug that's been around forever, and it's just kind of like, they like that. They're like, we don't want to know about it because I don't think they know how to fix it, whatever. But I think the way it works, and I might be wrong, but I think it's like she does her normal damage somewhere, and it's meant to do less damage elsewhere. But actually, what it does is it ramps that damage up. It multiplies it by your critical damage again. So like it's meant to be like less damage, but actually it just like absolutely turbocharges the damage.
So absurd, like, because I tried to do it with other champions like Leoris and stuff just for fun to see, like, oh, can they hit hard? Can I do stuff like Trunder? None of them can do it. It's just it's so odd. But yeah, the main thing I wanted to speak about your team, your thought process going behind it, and your first pick very surprised me. Like with us, like you had so many.
It's a massive mistake.
The world was your oyster. You had Kriska available and all of that good stuff, and you went for damage straight away. Do you regret that in hindsight, or are you happy with your pick for the first one?
I guess we'll find out in a couple of days. Really, like I knew that enemy max HP is still king in this game.
Yeah,
Krizia was straight banned out, so we couldn't pick a Krizia. I actually only left Husk or Royal Guard as like available picks. And when you're going first, you're also then going 16th. So I was really afraid that by the time it came back to me, like a load of the good damage options would have been off the table. So I was just like, make sure you secure yourself really good level of damage straight away. In hindsight, I mean, my initial vibe was like, I'm not going to pick Husk. Like that was never in my brain. It was literally like, I was like, Chris to Hanorach, because to Hanorach I think is like godly for this.
Yeah.
Mithrala, Lydia, there was all these great options, Duchess. And I was like, no, have some damage. So I don't know, man. He's obviously going to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
Whether he should have been first pick, I don't know.
And then you got that Venus Cupidus, the +4 maximum damage. I'm scared of that one.
I am happy with that. That's going to be fun. Like the cool thing with that is you can play those two however you want. I could run Cupidus super slow, crazy damage. I could run him quite quick, but still obviously whenever he gets hit, if Venus is in the same team, he's going to counterattack with that A1. Just constant damage going out. And Venus obviously brings, when Cupidus is around, Venus will cleanse all of the heads of buffs.
Oh yeah.
She does drop defense and weaken. She gives us burns as well. So I've got 2 AoE HP burns in those two. They really are like insanely good for Hydra as a pair. Both on their own, they're good. together they're pretty absurd. So I think it's going to work well.
I don't have any of them, so I don't even. I've never even played with them on someone else's account. So I know.
Cupidus, right?
It's crazy.
I've got a +4 Cupidus, and then I've got 3 more Cupiduses. It's like
you can have 2 +4s.
+4 +2. Like it's
well, give me one.
Yeah, like and by far, like, I don't have anyone else that I've pulled that often. Like it just keeps coming.
That is actually wow. That's. Do you know what's saying that? I actually did a Sharple video yesterday, and my last legendary was the one you pulled me, right? The Fushan. And then last night with the double legendary, I pulled Corvus the Corruptor, which was good, but then the extra Lego was another Fushan. I was like, for God's sake, man. You're like a dupe king, you just pull all my dupes.
Yeah, it keeps going, yeah.
All right, Archbishop Pinfroy, very underrated, I think. Well, actually, I'd say one of the most underrated picks in this draft completely. What was the thinking behind him? Was he like top of your radar, or was he like a second best thing for you as like a safety feature?
It was definitely someone that I was keen to get. So I've played around with him quite a bit before in Hydra. He actually brings loads. He brings loads to your team. So he's given me the block debuffs to the enemy, which I wanted someone in my team to do that in case buffs start getting stolen. Because I don't have a natural kind of mischief tank. Yeah. But he's also given me increased accuracy. So I could run someone like my Cupidus with lower accuracy and still get the burns away. It brings big shields. It brings a heal as well on his A3.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just, and they're both on like reasonable cooldowns. The healing, the shielding, sorry, could be a bit better. And the heal, like maybe one less cooldown would have been better. But
yeah,
ultimately, like he does a lot to keep you alive. And yeah, I just think he's a solid pick. Like does a lot for Hydra.
This is really good as well, like stealing a random buff. So if something goes up, like they reflect damage, or if they get stolen, there's a way to steal with the A1. I think that's very underrated, man.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely like a solid pick, and because I wanted that block buffs, I wanted someone else. Like Deliana was an option, for example, but she doesn't do a lot more than just the block buffs. Yeah, so I definitely wanted someone that could do some more stuff.
She's got the leach, right? Deliana.
Yeah, she does. She has
pretty good. Yeah,
she has some stuff going on, but I was like, I kind of wanted this champion to be a support champ.
Yeah. Well, Elva Autumnborn wasn't really a surprise. That was really good, but Marta.
Yeah.
Counterattack can be good, but it can also be dicey. If you get stolen for counterattack and that gets spread, it could be a nasty time. But you do have ways to remove buffs and stuff. But I think the main reason you chose her is the role of the provoke, right? On that 4-turn cooldown. Am I correct to say that?
It was more actually. I definitely wanted decreased attack.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that the head of Wrath doesn't just completely like chew me up.
Yeah.
So the decreased attack with the addition of a provoke was going to be pretty nice. And also increased defense is useful as well. The counter attack, as you say, can be quite dodgy.
Yeah.
But if I'm honest, it was a bit of a panic pick because I was looking through tons of champions before it got to me, and I was like, who else could it be? And Iron Brago was an option in my head. Would have been a better option. I was wondering about, do I just not bring decreased attack at all and bring someone like Brogni and like shields and
just tank it up?
Yeah, but I'm too scared to do that.
It's too short time frames, right? Because these Hydra runs are so long, and you literally have to go so far into a battle to actually know, is my team going to survive this? It can get scary, man, for sure.
Yeah, Kyoku might still be an option for me.
I asked it in my comment section yesterday, and like, who do they think is the best draft? And a lot of people actually said you in the comments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they was actually very surprised you didn't go for Kyoku. I seen it a lot. I seen it a lot in my comment section saying, "Oh, Kyoku should have been picked here." So it'd be interesting to see.
I still might. So as I say, that's the one position because we're allowed to sub one champion, right? So that's the one position that I'm not sure about. I'm going to like test a few different ones, but we don't have a lot of time really. Like Hydra runs are long. We don't have a lot of time to like do a whole bunch of testing. Because the thing is, like, if I subbed in somebody that does something, so Lord Champfort's another option. If I subbed in Lord Champfort, then I can reduce everybody's resistance if I want to try and like resistance tank. And that's quite nice when we've got player power like concerns. So he brings a decreased accuracy.
That's very strong. The decreased accuracy is actually very underrated on a 3-turn cooldown as well. I was 4 years and a 4-turn being one of the. Has he got changed recently or something?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm not sure.
I think that's a very good option.
And he's obviously got the passive as well, which just keeps him alive really well. Also, the passive put like a weak source decreased speed out when he gets hit.
I think,
only on one enemy.
Raid, if there's some art dude out there, one of the art team, and you're just watching this video randomly, can you just like slip a 30% in here in one of the skills?
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
you'd be god tier, right?
If it's going to be this weak source 15%, like it needs to go on all enemies or something. Like have no cooldown. Like it's yeah. Anyway, it's so he's an option because I think that's so. I basically got in my mind him, Pyuku, Iron Brado because he just gives everybody a big chunk of defense.
Yeah,
and you know. My biggest struggle right now is that Cupidus, building him as an absolute unit to do damage, I'm going to struggle to keep him alive.
Have you thought about putting Guardian set on multiple champions to play the role of a protector for your Cupidus?
I'm thinking about Guardian set at least on one.
Okay.
But I'm like if I'm kind of like because sets make a big difference to these type of events, right? When we're doing this stuff, I'm definitely thinking Husk. I'd love in Relentless gear. I'm thinking potentially Venus with 2 AoEs to put in provoke gear as like an extra provoke chance. Yeah, I don't really have a good provoker at the moment outside of Husk. Yeah, and Husk obviously I need him to do his nukes whenever possible. So I definitely want someone in provoke set that's going to be doing AoEs. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's
a sticky one.
You start running out of like people. You know, it's like running out of sets.
It's like 60 champions gone. Yeah, they all just it actually starts to get very limited. But okay, just heading back into this actually. Let's put it up. So according to here, the seeds are now in. We can now see all of who's facing. So I'll be facing Cold Brew, Scratch versus MTG Jedi. Should be interesting. And then we've got you versus Deadwood Jedi and Nub Raids versus Odd One Gaming. So your first one's going to be Deadwood. And if we just quickly pull up the team, is this something that's intimidating you? Are you scared at all? Do you think it's underrated? I see a cheeky smirk there.
Yeah, so look, I think he's got a really good squad. Pythian, very good. Damage mitigation. Although he doesn't have, like, Pythian's good if you've got a lot of buffs, right?
Yep.
He doesn't really have a team that has got a lot of buffs. So actually, Pythian here is not getting, like, full
potential.
Full potential. Like, Dythe switching, I would just straight switch Dythe out.
Yeah.
Somewhat better. Ultimately, like Cantor can keep provoke up for a good amount of time. I think he struggles to out damage me. Is my view. I can't see it. Like Geo's not got any sort of reset stuff going on here to really pump those burns out.
Unless he runs reflex.
Yeah, he could run reflex. Yeah. I don't know, man. It feels like if I had to pitch Cupidus Venus, because ultimately, like Raw Guard Husk should be pretty parallel, right? How long we stay alive, I think, should be pretty similar. I don't see that either of us have got any kind of better ways to stay alive than the other. So it comes down to Venus and Cupidus versus Geo. Like, who's pumping more damage? Now, when you look at, I look on the optimizer quite a lot. When you look at like top teams, there's way more people that run Geo than that run Cupidus Venus as their damage. So maybe he's got it. Maybe like that makes more sense.
But it is. With Geo, he's got that damage reduction with the burn as well. True. So he's taking 15% less damage, and if he does have a way to bring in some extra buffs and miss Rider from
that's a lot of damage mitigation. Yeah, you're right.
It is a lot, so he should be able to tank up quite a lot and maybe survive a pretty long time. Like, even for me, like speaking on my team briefly, like my goal is not for instant damage. I'm looking to out survive and trickle damage over time. And I feel like I don't think anyone in this draft is going to last longer than me. I genuinely believe that. I don't think it's possible. Like potentially
Cobra. This is the damage mitigation of Deadwood there, like you just said. Like he's got potential like 30.
But the thing is, I've got
mitigation.
I've got the strengthen. He's only got strengthen if Pythian revives, and then I've got allied protection, protected shields. I don't know, man. We'll see. Like the one I'm scared of most was actually Cold Brews away from Scratch, and that's who I'm facing first because I feel like his is a very similar one to me.
Where was he seeded then, Cold Brew? Were you 4th and 5th between you?
He was 5th and I was 4th.
Yeah.
So it was very.
Nubraid's coming in a 2nd seed. Damn. I guess his knowledge is. I would say on paper, Nubraid's team I thought was the worst. Like the worst team.
Where does a nub, there's a way. That's the one thing I've learned with this guy,
he
man.
He knows this game mode inside out.
Do you know what it is? He loves... One thing I've learned about him over the year is he loves Mother Sidebell, and he's managed to get her And I think she's criminally underrated with Inquisitor Shamil because he just boosts the turn meter, he could boost Ninja, instant detonation of burns and a reflex as well. There's a lot of potential here for if Torment
I guess that's what he's going to have to do, right? He's going to have to throw Ninja as the lead and just try and pump. Like, where's his other damage other than Ninja? Like,
I think he's relying.
What's going on?
He's relying on a Torment head. That's what he's banking on. Like, if that Torment keeps coming back, he's going to keep going and he's not going to stop. So I think it's a sleeper one. I'm not sure about the protection. I think he's good for a revive on death strategy. So he just never dies because revive and death's always up. Right. With Godseeker as well.
Maybe.
It's interesting, man.
I'll be interested to see what sort of damage that does. Like, for me, like, if I think about, team kind of, does the team make sense? All of those champions I know are good Hydra champions. I'm not sure if that team makes as much sense as the others. So I'll be interested to see if he subs someone or if he's just done a big brain and prove me wrong.
Because he does have the Hex as well, and then all of the AoEs of Mother Cybele, so that it could be a fun synergy of just Hex damage.
Just
potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And then Scratch is just...
Scratch's team just looks disgusting.
MTG's was probably, for me, like, when you said nub raids, I thought MTG's was... The champions individually are really good. I'm just not sure about the synergy here, man. Like...
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
They just don't look like...
Great.
Do you only look at...
Picks are great.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like the last three pair with the
last
first
three don't look like they're Hydra champions to me. It's like, why has he picked his arena team?
It's like an arena
in this Hydra draft. Yeah.
But it could be interesting, though. Like, Duoden, he's got that taunt buff, he's got buff extensions, he's got shields. He can actually cleanse with the A1 every single time he uses it on all allies.
Oh, yeah. True.
So he could be using that very similar to 200 passive of removing debuffs, but he'd actually have to take a turn to do it.
Got to hit to do it, yeah.
So it's interesting.
Is anyone who's dealing with Head of Decay in that team?
In MTGs?
No one actually provokes, do they? So he's going to have to run taunt set on someone like Uko.
He's got Duoden for taunt.
I know, but you need to actually provoke. Taunt will not work.
Does it
against Head of Decay? Because Head of Mischief it's fine, but Head of Decay.
Oh yeah, Head of Decay. Oh yeah.
Provoke them.
Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So I guess he's done a run provoke set, taunt set on.
Interesting. I can't call it because I'm not so into Hydra boss. I can't call which team is going to outperform who's. Like, this is Clan boss. I already know like what's going on. Apart from you, when you keep beating everyone. Hopefully, you can take your first L this time.
but you can see that like both of our teams in that Clan boss, we knew our teams were quite similar, right? In terms of makeup and stuff, and it was just who's going to squeeze more damage out of their gear. Whereas this one, other than Scratch, I feel like Scratch is runaway winner potentially here. But other than that, I think everybody's going to do a similar level of damage. I really do. I think.
So away from Scratch, who would you be most scared to face first? As like a broad question. Like you'd be like, ooh, like I didn't really want that one.
It's the one we've not spoken about yet, which is Odd One.
Odd One's team.
I think Odd One has got a bit of a sleeper OP team here. Ruel does tons of damage when Hex is out there. Nekmo Thar is probably, outside of like Big Void Legendaries, I think that's the best champion for Hydra in the game.
Yeah.
So that was a brilliant. I don't have him, but
I don't have him either. I would have chosen him as well.
Yeah. I mean, just the amount of speed control that's going on with that champion is insane. And then all of these like support type champions, like Solus for Provoke, also does tons of damage. Tora, tons of damage. Got an AoE reviver rather than just a single target reviver that you can use the ability for when you don't even need the revive, with the strengthen and stuff. So yeah, I think this is potentially a really big team.
I'm just worried about his survivability.
Yeah, maybe, but I guess
he does have perfect veils of Tatora, and he's got the increased defense. There is quite a lot in there.
Got strengthened from a Sala. You've got perfect veil. Naturally, the only person that might keep going down is Ruel. Like Ruel's a bit of a squishy pick compared to the rest. Don't know, man.
It's a hard one to call, man.
It's really tough. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun, but I'll tell you what else it's going to be. It's going to be long.
Yeah,
we're all doing a run. These runs take a long time. So yeah, it's going to be like bring your popcorn because we're going along on this.
But yeah, I guess on that note, Hades, I appreciate you coming on. and all that good stuff to speak teams with us. Guys, be sure to go into deadwoodjedi.com. It will have all of the information for when stuff is going live and all of that good stuff. And also, let's subscribe to Hellhades. I don't know if anyone here is not subscribed, but let's get him to 200,000. He is right around the corner, so every little helps, and then maybe he can change the color of his bandana at 200k. Who knows? Just a theory. Anything you want to say here before we sign off here?
Ah, mate, let the games begin, man, and good luck against Deadwood. No, I'm fighting Deadwood. Good luck against
Deadwood.
Good luck against Deadwood. Me. Good luck against Cold Brew.
All right, guys. If you did enjoy today's video, be sure to hit that like, subscribe button. Have an amazing rest of your day, and we'll catch you guys in a video soon. Peace.